So in this video, we want to share with you on what you're dealing with when it comes to these price discrepancies, specifically with SEO. Essentially, we want to debunk the fact that the pricing structures that you will see, whether it's a $19.99 SEO plan or a $3,000 SEO plan, that you kind of understand what you're getting for your money. So that's really what we wanted to do in this particular video. So let's kind of start from the bottom and we'll work our way up. So kind of, let's call it the, under $50, $1 to $50 SEO services that are out there. Won't call anybody out. There's plenty of them out there. But what do you get? What do you tend to get for that?
Yeah, so you're gonna see a lot of this show up. If you were to go to Google and do a search for an SEO company or SEO services, you're gonna see a lot of this come up in the ads area. A lot of these people are advertising these cheap SEO services, or they are add-ons to like website builders or things like that. Where, it seems like a no-brainer to go after this because of the price point, and you looked for an SEO service or an SEO company, and that's what showed up. But in all reality, for that price point, there's no way that they could be offering an actual service. Okay. What you are getting in that situation is tools to analyze things yourself, or they're going to basically just audit your situation and tell you what needs to be done and then upsell you.
Okay, so it's a bait and switch in a sense.
100%.
100%. Okay, all right. And so kind of with that category, 0 to 50, we always tell folks, before you hire somebody, find out who the company is behind it. Look at the BBB, see what their grade is, see what people are saying about them, and then go from there.
Yeah. One other thing to note with those, pay attention to the contracts that are attached to those, because a lot of the time you are forced into a year contract with that, which again seems like not much money for a year. So why not try it out?
But it's not. It's you're getting nothing, and it's actually it's bad because there's probably some stuff that might happen that could potentially hurt you. So then that next step up, so let's call it like, from $50 up to, I don't know, $199, $200, $250 maybe. What are we talking about here? What do you get? What don't you get with at that level?
Yeah, most of the time what you're seeing here, and a lot of this is offered to like local businesses. So in most cases, what they're offering you is some kind of like a directory analysis. They'll let you scan your local listings, show you what you need to do. There might be some kind of submission service attached to that possibly. Okay. And then they're probably going to do a little bit of on-page on your website as well. Okay. So maybe, I don't know, 5 pages possibly. They'll do some things to try and rank that. There may possibly be a little bit of blog content in that plan, but I wouldn't expect much more than that.
But and for the most part, a lot of times on page, there really isn't that much to do on an ongoing basis. It's kind of like a one-time thing, if at all, and then they're just kind of collecting for whatever. It's gravy money after that.
Sure, yeah. Sure, they're looking at it as they might not make much in the first month, but they've done the bulk of their work in that time period, and then it's coast from there. Okay. So then really the next step up, so let's call it the $200, $250 up to maybe that $450, $500 range. What do you start? I mean, that becomes a little bit more of a value, and I know for a lot of small business owners, that kind of becomes almost like the threshold for them of, hey, I don't want to spend more, so that's the maximum investment that I'm looking to make. So the reality of the matter is you still usually at those levels don't get everything. So what is it that you do get at that level, and what should your expectation be that happens when you're spending, let's say, up to $500 a month? Yeah. If you're in a market that is not very competitive, this could actually work for you.
Okay.
In most cases, what you're going to see is, I don't know if you would agree with this, but I would think that a lot of those people are solos. They're SEOs that are just on their own offering this service. They're probably going to do everything that we mentioned before, so the on-page, local. They're probably going to add on some technical SEO and really analyze what's going on with the health of your website, which is very important.
So the coding aspects in the background that help Google understand it better. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And then they might have some links included in that.
Okay. All right, great. So then, kind of finally, you kind of get to the, let's call it $600 and up, and obviously that's going to be a pretty wide range because depending on where you are in the United States and what industry you're actually working in. Now you're really running in a range that's a very broad spectrum. Let's call it $600 on the low end, but you could easily go to a couple grand, if not more, kind of on the high end. And a lot of people fall into that, and a lot of people really don't understand why is it 600 and why is it 2,000? Like, kind of what is the difference here? So kind of share a little bit on that.
Yeah. So in most of these cases, you're looking at an actual full-blown agency that would be helping you at that price point. You're getting a team of people who are working on your project, different people who are experts in different pieces of things. So they are most of the time going to look at everything that I mentioned before, the technical, on-page, the local listings. They'll have their own tools that are scanning everything, providing you reports back. But there's much more of a strategic plan behind what's going on. It's not really a one-size-fits-all approach where you're going to get that with a lot of the lower level SEO packages where they're going to do the same thing for every client or every site that they encounter. In this case, there's much more of a plan that goes into what's going on, where it's strategic planning based on goals and the current situation, and then planning to be successful in whatever market that you're in.
Execute on that. Okay, so let's talk about that, because there are SEO agencies or digital marketing agencies that focus on a particular target market. We see it in construction. Even within those categories, we see it within roofing, for example. Also, we see it in legal. So there's companies out there that just provide services to the legal industry, and so it creates this perception that because you are doing a lot of work within that particular industry, now that agency is kind of a subject matter expert, and so therefore a lot of times they're going to want to hire someone from within that industry. But we know the truth of the matter is everybody's going to end up being on Google, and for the most part, Google treats everybody pretty much the same. So you may have someone in a lower competition type of an industry almost getting the same kind of a product versus somebody who is in a industry where they're charging higher fees, and so therefore the agencies in those particular industries can actually charge higher fees. Probably one of the most egregious is legal, I would say, where we have seen some law firms spend thousands of dollars when they were fine spending $800 to $1,000, for example, right? And really are getting the same services. But so the point that I'm trying to make with this, and that I wanted to talk to you about here, is the cost variation can be dramatic. And what is it that actually changes that cost? What creates really that spectrum of how aggressive we would be, and what is that used for? Like, what's the money being used for? Why does somebody have to spend more for some stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the price difference is how competitive we have to be and how aggressive we have to be with our link building.
Link building, yeah, okay.
It's not a secret, and we're not trying to hide this from anyone. We need to do this in a natural looking way to not get in trouble with Google, but we are reaching out to websites manually and purchasing links off of websites. Back to your site. So that costs money. And the more of that we need to do on a regular basis, the more your SEO is going to cost. If you want to be at the top in a competitive market, you have to be aggressive with your link building. So if you're not spending enough to get that done, you're just not going to get there.
Right. And I think the important thing to explain here too is, I know there's people that may watch this and say, oh my gosh, they're buying links. The fact of the matter is, links have become a commodity. And people have gotten smart to the fact that they have something other people want, and so they are going to charge for it. Links purchasing and links acquisition on behalf of other clients is extremely common. Any agency out there that is worth their salt and really wants to deliver for their clients has a budget set aside where links are being purchased for clients on an ongoing basis based on some sort of a strategy. And the cheaper SEO plans that we were mentioning earlier in this video simply don't have the budget to purchase those types of links. And so therefore, those lower priced SEO programs are just simply not going to work if your goal is to rank higher, especially if you're in a competitive industry.
Yeah, you just can't move the needle without that piece of the puzzle. There's different ways that they'll try to sell this to you, trying to get traffic to the website in different ways. But if you are looking to hire an SEO, they need to be doing link building.
It's as simple as that. If you want to rank and be successful at ranking.
Yeah. So, otherwise, it's not full blown SEO. You're getting a piece of.
You're getting one
service.
sliver. You're getting a sliver, and you may not realize that. Okay. All right. Well, again, so here's kind of an overview of the different levels of SEO that you can get. Try to decide what you think it is that you need. Be aware that there's this component of bad SEO that sometimes good agencies have to then undo if you had bad SEO done because it was cheap. So if you have any questions on maybe what you would need, talk to multiple agencies, get multiple points of views, and then make a business decision on really what it is that you're most comfortable with based on the goals you want to achieve. And I think that it kind of sums it up nicely so that you know what tier to ultimately fall into. Okay? Thank you.